And welcome to the Central Florida Computer Society, the Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG as we're known as, for Sunday, June 12th, 2016. We're located in Bradenton, Florida, but the Central Florida Computer Society meeting is held at the Seminole County Library in Castleberry, Florida. And I want to go ahead and close this. Put this to select color so it's there, and we're ready to begin. I've got several items up for discussion today, and hang on one second here. There we go. I have several items for discussion for today. We may not get to all of them, but the links are at the WinSIG page at huey.net, and then you go to the WinSIG page and then find the notes for 2016, and then find the ones for today, which is June 12th. I think I tried to change the order around for these, but I noticed one of them snuck in. Try to save the Windows 10 for the latter part of the meeting, and then some of the things for others. But I think one of the Windows 10 might have gotten in a little bit earlier, but we'll check that when we get there. First item I want to go over with you is a OneLook reverse dictionary. Help you find that word you can't remember. And so what it looks like is this is the website where I got it from. And what you can do at the OneLook, it's a thesaurus and dictionary. We're getting a lot of background noise, Jack. I'm going to go ahead and let's see if there's a way I can mute you. I think I can. I'll mute you, but you can unmute when you have questions. I just muted you. Anyway, with the OneLook reverse dictionary, you can put in whatever you want, and it will give, and there's some other things that it'll do too, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. This is live to the website, and what we're going to do is look for, let's see, the OneLook thesaurus and reverse dictionary, and we'll go there, which is here. So let's say we have a fear of Friday the 13th. And there's the word or words. This one is a fear of the 13th, the number 13, and this is Friday. When I click on it, it gives me a whole bunch of other words that you might want to take a look at. But let's take this one in particular. We'll find the definition. And then we can find it in several places, but let's take it from the word spy. And there it is. Tells you how to pronounce it. And I'm not going to even try, but you can find some history and some information about it as well. But it is fear of the Friday the 13th, and that's the actual word for it. So it's a good website to keep in your, well, let's go back to it, to keep in your tool of places to go when you can't think of that word. And as we get older, sometimes that happens more than it used to. You can't, that just word won't come to you, but you know what you're looking for. And if you can just put in that information, you might come up with the word through that web page. So it's a good web page to have. Okay, some 10 tools that fix common Windows frustrations. Let's take a look at this page. I know several of you aren't using Windows 10. This was actually, this article came out in July of 2015, about the time 2010 came out. So most of these frustrations deal with earlier versions of Windows, not specifically Windows 10. And in many cases, not Windows 10 at all. So let's take a look at these. And I'll make this a little bit larger. And this is a magical jelly bean Keyfinder. It's free. The biggest downside of using Windows or any commercial software is that you end up managing a pile of product keys. And the magical Jelly Bean Keyfinder is a great tool to have in your kit. There's a free program that lets you recover the product keys for more than about 300 desktop programs. And then there's also a paid version that'll actually go out and find your keys to 6,500 programs. It actually searches your computer, figures out what that key is, and then gives it back to you on a screen similar to this. So it doesn't have to be Windows 10. This is any version of Windows. It's the magical Jelly Bean Keyfinder, and there's a link to it right here in the article that I have presented to you in my listings at WinSIG. Next item that I want to talk about, or I'm not going to talk about really, is CCleaner free. And Jack, I believe, is going to be talking about that in the next, in the main meeting today. So I'll just say that this is one of the tools that you want to have in your arsenal. The next one is a modern mix and a start menu replacement. And that would be this is a free upgrade for Windows 7 and 8.1 Windows is Windows 10, of course, which gives you a menu. However, the modern mix is $5 and Start 8 is $5, or you can get the free classic shell that gives you your start menu. They also have upgraded those to work with Windows 10 if you've been working with them in Windows 7 or in Windows, I should say in Windows 8, and you have either Start 8 or Classic Shell, you can get the updated version to work with Windows 10. There shouldn't be a problem with that. So if you're used to it, you don't have to change. You can transform your PC into a Wi-Fi hotspot, and I'm just first looking at the picture here. What it looks like, and you can set up a hotspot, and it's free. There's a premium upgrade available for Connectify. Sometimes you just need to share your laptop's internet connection, whether it's because of restrictive hotel Wi-Fi or the other option is a single wired connection. Windows itself doesn't feature great built-in tools for transforming your PC into an ad hoc Wi-Fi hotspot. But programs like Connectivity Hotspot, My Public Wi-Fi, and Virtual Router can have you sharing your computer's internet connection in no time. And again, there's a link for Connectivity Hotspot, for My Public Wi-Fi, and for Virtual Router. So those might be some that you might want to take a look at. The next item in this article has to do with maximizing your taskbar with bins. You can put bins down here in your taskbar. In other words, little collections of programs that make more sense. And it's a $5 program. It's called Bins. It's from a software company called OneUp Industries. And again, there's a link here that takes you to where you can take a look at more information about bins and download it. And it's a $5 program. You'll notice on the bottom of my screen, hopefully you can see it on yours, my taskbar has several individual items. Excuse me, and I have so many that on my Surface, I have to leave some of them off because it's just too many for that. And by having it in some kind of in a bin might make more sense for me. So I may take a look at that myself. The other program, and we've talked about this, I talked about this when I lived in Orlando, and I did a meeting on this for Windows, for the Windows SIG on fences. And it's a $10 program. There's a $30-day free trial. But fences, several of you may be using it. They just released a new version. Excuse me, and there is an upgrade path. You do have to pay, I think it was $4 for the upgrade. But let me show you my desktop. This is with fences turned off, and all I have to do is double click and it comes back. Now I have set up my fences to use one of the new features in the latest version of fences, and that's the roll-ups. So now I can go up to where the line is says graphics, and it shows me everything I've got in the fence for graphics. I want to go to phone, I can see those. I want to go down to office, I can see those. And the scanner, I can see those. And then you'll notice under more utilities or more items, I've got some that are up there all of the time, and that's because I use them most of the time, and I don't want them to be a roll-up. I want to be able to get them anytime they're available. Now, this feature of the roll-up is your choice. I can right mouse click and I can configure fences, and when I do, I can say I don't want this one to have let's go ahead and click that. I can tell it, okay, I don't want that to be a roll-up fence, and I can actually shut that off. So I can individualize which ones I want to be roll-ups, or I can have them excuse me, let me take a drink of water here. Sorry about that. I can configure them for none of them to be roll-ups, but I like to keep some of my desks available. I've got them scattered around, so when I do roll them down, they don't interfere with each other, as you can see. Now let's go back to where we are here. So that's fences, and you might want to try it, 30-day free, and it's only $10 if you decide to use it. It is $10 per computer, so if you have multiple computers, then you're looking at, you might want to consider which ones you want to use it with. This is a PC program setting backups. There's a clone app. This one's free. One of the worst parts about performing a clean Windows install is nuking all of your personalized program settings. The clone app can back them up for you. So you can let you pick and choose the programs whose settings you'd like to back up for a future restore. The clone app officially supports more than 100 programs, so it doesn't include everything, but it grabs their data from the Windows directories, the profile folders, and the registry. And if you need help with the program that's not on the list, you can add it manually as well. The next one is Get Folder Size, and it's free. When you're looking to clear up a hard drive disk space, you might want to look to see what are the largest folders, what are the largest files, and this program allows you to do that quite easily. The program scans either your entire hard disk or specific folders, displays them in a traditional tree hierarchy with an emphasis on folder size. And you can use this to view your biggest folders and figure out which ones are taking up more space than necessary, or even discover a long forgotten game that you have in your hard drive but no longer play. Fantastic WinDirStat provides similar functionality, and there's, as you can see, that's in blue, so that's a link as well, and Get Folder Size is a link that will take you to that program. Speccy is another one. I thought I had it installed, and I just checked a couple of minutes ago, and it's not on this computer, and I'm sorry, or I would show it to you. I've demonstrated it in other Windows SIGs, but Speccy is from the same company that makes CC Cleaner, Paraform, but it makes it easy to get a detailed rundown of your computer specs in all in one spot. There's no digging through your computer settings required. Speccy can tell you everything from what kind of RAM you have and how much, your processor type, and even your motherboard details. So that's information you might want to have. You can print it out. You can save it as a file using Speccy. So Speccy is another one you should have in your arsenal if you want. And Pandora Recovery. If you use Pandora Music, sometimes regret is spelled C-L-I-C-K. We've all been there before. You mistakenly delete something, forget about it, empty your recycle bin, and then have that moment. Pandora Recovery helps you pass those times to try to recover lost files for you. When you delete something in Windows, it actually isn't gone from your system until the operating system overwrites it with new data. Until that happens in your file, it's at least theoretically recoverable. It won't work all the time, but when it does, it gets the job done.
Yuri, we have a question.
Sure.
Back to the Speccy. What's the difference between that and Bellark Advisor?
It's from a different company.
Bellark Advisor gives you more information.
Okay. All right. And it doesn't hurt to have both of them. Take a look at both to see which one you'd rather have. They're both free.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and mute the audio again, Yuri.
Okay. And that's it from that one. So we'll close that out. Come back to our notes. So that's the 10 tools that fix common Windows frustrations. Again, you can use that in any of your Windows versions that you're using, not just Windows 10. And I know some of you aren't using Windows 10, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. The feds spend billions to run museum-ready computer systems, and the article after that is the U.S. government agencies are still using Windows 3.1 floppy disks and 1970 computers. Let's quickly look at those articles. I'm not going to go through them item by item, but I know some of you are resisting going to Windows 10. The government's even worse than that. They are still using Windows 3.1 on a lot of important computers. The government is squandering its technology budget maintaining museum-ready computer systems and critical errors from nuclear weapons to Social Security. They're still using floppy disks at the Pentagon. Clearly, there are billions wasted. The government agency information technology expert David Powers told the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee at a hearing. The Defense Department's Strategic Automated Command and Control System, which is used to send and receive emergency action messages to U.S. nuclear forces. The system is running on a 1970s IBM computing platform and still uses 8-inch floppy disks to store data. Replacement parts for the system are difficult to find because they are now obsolete. The next one, Treasury's individual and business master files, the authoritative data sources. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can follow me here. It's right here where I am. The Treasury's master files for taxpayer information. The system are about 56 years old and use an outdated computer language that's difficult to write and maintain. Treasury plans to replace the systems but has no firm dates. Social Security system that are used to determine eligibility and estimate benefits, about 31 years old. Some use a programming language called COBOL, dating back to the late 50s and early 60s. I knew how to program in COBOL, and I used it in the 80s. Most of the employees who've developed these systems are ready to retire, and the agency will lose their collective knowledge. Training new employees to maintain older systems takes a lot of time. Social Security has no plans to replace the entire system, but is eliminating and upgrading older and costlier components. It's also rehiring retirees who know the technology. Medicare appeal system is only 11 years old. The Transportation Department's hazardous materials information system, used to track incidents and keep information regulators rely on, it's about 41 years old, and et cetera, et cetera. So you can read that article, and let's go back, and this article's got a little bit more information from a different perspective, but basically on the same thing, using an old stock photo, and a backup nuclear control messaging system at the Department of Defense runs on an IBM Series 1 computer, first introduced in 1976, and uses 8-inch floppy disks. That's what I mentioned earlier. So again, some agencies are still running Windows 3.1, which was released in 1992, as well as the newer but unsupported Windows XP. Representative Jason Shavitz, a Utah Republican, noted during a Republican hearing. The government is spending more than $80 billion a year on IT, and it largely doesn't work. The federal government is years and sometimes decades behind the private sector. So those are a couple of articles you might want to read, especially if you follow these kind of things. Let me close a few of these up here. And come here. The next item on my list is the how to get special characters using the Alt keys in the or the word symbols library. I like to use the cent sign and a few others. And how to get special characters using the Alt keys. There's actually a video here, which I'm not going to play. Hopefully it won't start. Looks like it's going to.
When you're looking for
I'm going to stop it. You can watch that on your own, but you can insert symbols from the symbols library. Is non-keyboard characters of a document. Select the Insert tab, click Symbols button, and what you do is in Microsoft Word, you go to where it says Symbol. It's a drop-down. You say you want to choose the symbols, and then you find the one that you want. That's one way in which you can do it. There's also ASCII codes that you can do an Alt key and then a certain number, and it will put the code in as well. But you have to use, in most cases, you have to use the keyboard. And if you don't have a keyboard on, as you don't on most laptops, there is a way in which you can use the to be able to do it even on a laptop, and it does give you some ways of doing it in the on those computers in this article. But also, what I want to mention to you is if I go to the Start button and go to All Apps, then we're going to go to W, which is the Windows. Come on. I want to go to Windows Accessories, and I want to go to Character Map. I'm going to click on that, and it opens up the character map. I can't, let's see, I don't know if this will go bigger or not. It doesn't. Let's see if I can do it this way. No. On my computer, I can't make it bigger for you. If you're on an iPad or something, you might be able to. But you can see there's character map. So if I open up, let's say, I'm going to open up just an instance of Notepad, and then I want to do a cent sign. Move down here a little bit and find this. Well, there's, let's see, the cent sign should be, I found it when I was playing with this, but now, of course, that doesn't show up. Here, right here. Click on that. I select it. It puts it, it copies it, and then I do a paste, and bingo, even in Notepad, I've got a cent sign. So if you want to use that in an email or something, that's how you can do it in your emails as well. Just open up your character map, grab the item that you want, like it could be a copyright, it could be registered, or it could be you know, whatever item that you want. Even this figure here, or paragraph sign, whatever you want, you just select it, that copies it, and you can actually, right now I got both of them, and I could do a paste, and it would show both. And then you can move them around, do whatever you want. And this is by all of whatever font that you're using, you choose the character set for that and work with it. You can also do an advanced view, so there's some other things that you can do with it as well. And again, that's within your Windows accessories. Okay, what Windows 7 holdouts will miss. 11 improvements in Windows 10. Before I show you this article, what I do want to mention to you is, number one is next month is July. 2016, which will be the first anniversary of Windows 10. And as you know, the free upgrade to Windows 10 from 7 or Windows 7 or Windows 10 8.1 ends, I believe, on the 29th. I don't know the exact date. I'm quite sure it was the 29th of July. And then it will be $119 to do the upgrade. So if you're thinking of it at all, you might want to do it between now and towards the end of July. Also, around that same time, probably right after the free upgrade goes away, there is going to be a major upgrade of Windows 10 called the Anniversary Issue. And it will come about right after the freebie goes away, but you'll be able to do the upgrade. And there's starting to be a lot of articles on of some of the advancements and changes and additions to Windows 10 that are going to be in that upgrade. They've been beta testing it for a long period of time. It's almost ready for RTM or release to manufacture. And between now and our next meeting, there's going to be a lot of articles on what's going to be in that next update. So the meeting next month, probably it won't be out yet, but we'll have a pretty good indication of what it's going to include. So I'm not going to be able to show it, but I'll have a lot of articles about it. So if you're a holdout of Windows 7, this is what you're missing right now. And again, this is an article that's got several slides, and let's take a look at them. One is, it's drastically faster to boot, Windows 10 is, than 7 or 8.1, unless you put fences in. Fences did make it slow down quite a bit for me, but it still boots up in a matter of about a minute on my computer. Your storage spaces. The promise of storage spaces and oft overlooked Windows 8 feature, it allows your system to recognize several internal and external storage drives. So you can do a RAID array. You can store to flash drives, hard drives, SSDs, and a combination of them as a single large storage pool. You can refresh and reset. Clean installing Windows used to be a major hassle, requiring the use of physical media and a recovery disk image that you made immediately after configuring the OS the way you like it. Windows 8 and 10 streamline things with a refresh and reset. Refresh allows you to return your PC to factory fresh while saving all of your personal files, while reset wipes the slate completely clean. So just don't press the wrong one. There's a native antivirus, although most of the people I know are using something other than the Windows Defender. I use a different one on every computer, as a matter of fact. Improved multi-monitor support for those of you who have more than one monitor, or if you're projecting. There are several settings now that you didn't have in earlier versions, and it makes monitor handling much easier. Your file history. Windows 8 and 10's file history differs from Windows 7. Windows 7 backup in some useful ways designed to make archiving as easy as possible. Basically, you can designate a backup drive for the system, and yes, it can be an external drive, and it'll automatically create continuous backups of your libraries, desktop, contacts, and favorites. I'm going to have to play with that a little bit sometime in the future and then demonstrate it for you. I've never tried it. But for those of you, I know next month it's going to be on Macrium Reflect. There'll be the main meeting. But there's some things built into Windows itself that you might want to try as well. A system-wide search. The search tools in Windows 8 and 10 tap the power of the web to return results beyond what simply lies in your hard drive. And actually, you can use Cortana as well. And there's settings syncing. Speaking of OneDrive, Windows 8 and 10 rely on Microsoft's cloud services to sync your system settings across any computer you sign into using your Microsoft account. It's a wonderful to sit down at a computer you've never used before and find your wallpaper preferences and so on. And you can do that with some settings here, individual sync settings that you can have and for your account. And when you sign in with your Microsoft account, it will work and do the same settings. There's a supercharged task manager. If you've been using task manager in earlier versions, Windows 10 does a lot. It gives you a lot more information. And if you're using Windows 10, take a look at task manager. And the ribbon. Some of you don't like the ribbon, but depending upon your perspective, Windows 8 and 10 adopted Microsoft's slimmer, trimmer ribbon interface that makes it its debut and made its debut in Office, but it's now part of Windows. So if you're looking in File Explorer, there's a ribbon at the top as well. And you can turn that off, turn it on, and actually have things on there or not have them on if you want. But it actually is quite nice to have the ribbon once you get used to it. I think that's the last one. There might be one more. Yeah. And then there's ISO mounting. Windows 7 could burn ISOs. Windows 8 and 10 can natively mount and run them. Hang on, I'm going to mute here for a moment. Sorry about that. Windows 8 and 10 can natively mount and run ISOs. And Windows 10, of course, is better. And there's also a comprehensive Windows 10 review at PC World, and there's a link to that as well. Okay, for those of you who are still on Windows 7 and still use it extensively, there's now a giant Windows 7 roll-up patch, which takes the headache out of updating a new PC. So if you have a PC and you put on Windows 7, you have to go through hundreds of updates to have it catch up with all of the updates. And now what they've done is they've made it so when you do an update to Windows 7, they have a giant roll-up patch that includes everything. So Windows 7 may not be available for most of us anymore, but there are some to reinstall the operating system on existing Windows 7 PCs, and Microsoft never released a service pack after Windows 7 Service Pack 1's release in early 2011. Because of that, updating Windows 7 PC required countless download and update, install, reboot, repeat cycles to fully patch the systems. So now what they've done is they have a Windows 7 SP1 convenience roll-up, and you can click on that and it'll actually take you there. And down farther on the page, it says instead you have to download the roll-up directly from Microsoft's update catalog. So those of you at home, if you want to do that, just click on that. It'll take you where you need to go. And you should use Internet Explorer. I think Microsoft kind of utilizes some things within it that aren't in the other browsers. So you might want to use IE for that. Next item on here is free computer training. I found this an interesting page because number one, you can sign up and you don't have to, because for personal use, you can use with their compliments, no strings attached, and it's a little bit less quality printing, but it does print very well. You have Access, Excel, IE Quick Reference, Link, Office Quick Reference, OneDrive for Business, Outlook, PowerPoint, Project Share. Let's take Word, and some of you may be still using, let's say, Word 2010. If you are, I'll click on that. What you'll get is a 2-page reference card with all of the items to help you with things that you would normally use in Word. And then there's a page of information that I use two-sided printing, so it's basically one page just using page 1 and page 2. And so then I have a quick reference card for those. And as I said, you've got them for all of these different Office 2011 quick reference, even Apple quick reference, and then Windows, and then Word, SharePoint, as I said, most of the Office products. They also have a Windows 10 video and Excel 2016 video, and then some of you may use SharePoint, but probably most of you don't. But if you want to see those videos, I found that if I use IE, I get a link. Well, the link is there if I click on this. Let's try it. Okay, today it's working. It didn't work the other day for me when I was trying to test it.
Welcome to Windows 10 What's New from Custom Guide. We make the best courses on the internet.
Okay, I'm not going to play that completely, but you might want to listen to that, and so you can see what's new in Windows 10. And I believe they do have a way to get to a place where they have more quick reference videos for Windows 10. Okay, those of you who use Facebook, there's 16 quick tips. I'm not going to go through these because I know some of you don't use Facebook, but you might want to take a look at this article if you do, or if you think you're going to use it. And if your news feed's out of control, it's some preferences. Unfollow frustrating people. So I scroll down this page. Choose people to see first. So there's just some settings to make you a more powerful user in Facebook. So if you're using it and really don't understand some of the things, this might give you some hints and some things to make it easier for you to use and why to do them, or how things work, to how to join groups and follow pages, how to create some interest lists, how to block requests. So when you're getting a request for all these people to play games with them and you're not interested, you can actually block those requests, and that's how you do it through just follow the directions here and it'll talk about it. Set some notification preferences, and if you're worried about who's seeing your post, on what to do there. How to update your privacy settings. Test your security using View As. So you can view your Facebook page as someone else who's a friend or the general public and see what they actually see from your page. So you can protect yourself from prying eyes by not allowing certain things to be viewed by the general public if you get the right settings. And you can tell whether you have those settings on or not by using the View As settings. And so if you want your post to be more popular, some things to do: know when to post, know how to post, what to post. And if Facebook isn't showing your content, is showing content you don't like, how to change your ad preferences, and how to hide posts and pages, and so on this day preferences. And then if you want to try out some of Facebook's hidden features, again, follow that down in this article. So if you're using Facebook but not to any extent and would like to know a little bit more about it, take a look at that article, 16 quick tips to make you a Facebook power user. Okay, some Windows tips and tricks, and you'll notice here that this was written in 2014, so it's a couple of years old. So obviously this wasn't written with Windows 10 in mind. So again, those of you who don't use Windows 10, this would apply to you. Some of these things are still part of Windows 10, so you might want to consider that as well if you're using Windows 10. Let's quickly go through some of these. Your launch bar, taskbar programs with your keyboard. This tells you how to do it. And you can do it by each start button is assigned its own numerical shortcut. And so you can press the Windows key and the number of the program you want to open, and it will launch it. So anything that's on your taskbar, if your mouse quits, or if for whatever reason you don't want to use your mouse to do it, you can just do the Windows key and a 0 or a 1 or a 2 or a 3 to open up what you want in the order that they are on your taskbar. So as you look at the ones here on the screen, the first one is let's see, is Windows 3 is the Chrome browser. So that's 1, 2, 3. So Windows key, hit the Windows key and the number 3, it'll open up your Chrome browser if this was your taskbar. Or if you wanted Irfan view, which is here, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'd hit the Windows key and 7, and it would open up Irfan view. You can quickly launch a new instance of a program. Those taskbar icons can also be used to quickly launch a second or third or fourth instance of a program. A fresh browser window with one that's already populated, for instance. Quickly, just hold down the Shift button and then open the program as you normally would. So if you hold the Shift button down and then click on something that's already open. I don't have much open down here, so I don't want to do it. But if I hold the Shift key down and click on one of these, it'll open a second instance. Here, let's do this. And then I'm going to click it, hold the Shift key down, click it again. And it actually opened now is a second one. So there's 2 of them that are open, and I can open the second one there. And we'll close this. So sometimes you want to have 2 instances of something open. I do it quite a bit with file folders. So I can copy it. I can just click and drag it from one folder to another. And so that works out very well by using the, by opening a second instance of the file folder or my PC or this PC in Windows 10, and then open a second instance of the folder, a folder, and then copy and move it over to it. You can copy the file as a path to the clipboard. So why would you ever want to copy to do that? Well, you might just want to tell someone how to browse to a common location for a given application. Or mark a spot in a local file that you found using Windows Explorer, so it'll be handy later. So to copy the file path to your clipboard, you'll hold down the Shift key, right-click on the file or folder you want, then select the newly revealed Copy as Path option. Now you can paste the info to wherever you want, including the file name portion of a Browse dialog box with no extra browsing required. There's some more secret right-click options by holding the Shift key down. So if I right mouse click here, I get this. Now I'm going to hold the Shift key down and right mouse click. And do I get anything different? May not have there. Let's minimize this and come here and right mouse click. Okay, and I'm going to hold a, whoops. Now hold the Shift key down and right mouse click, and it's not working. Okay. Well, we learned something. It doesn't always work, or at least doesn't work in Windows 10. Let's see. This would be in the earlier version. That's right. So in Windows 7, it should work and give you more information. So try it in your Windows 7. I can't do it in Windows 10. Tweaking to the Send To menu. You can create shortcuts and so on in the Send To. So when you right mouse click in certain place, it depends on where you are, but it'll say send to when you're in the folders file. And if you send to, you can send it to the desktop. But once that's done, you can open Windows Explorer, and then you can type in a shell send to in the location bar at the top, followed by enter, and you'll be brought to the location that holds your send to options. Just drag and drop in the shortcuts to the folders you want to add to that tool. So you can create your own send to locations if you're sending stuff to the same place a lot and it's not in the normal menu. You can erase the past, and this tells you how to do it. Again, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. You can add mouse-friendly checkboxes to icons. And I've talked about Snap. The last meeting we had, I talked about the Snap, and this is how to use it as well. And then some search tools. Most people search Windows using the Start menu or the Windows 8. However, there are other ways, other properties, and you can search, and you can search in the search here box, so on. So there are some different ways in the ribbon that you can do some searches on your computer. You can pin common items to jump lists. You can increase the number of items in the jump list. You can add new folders to the File Explorer's favorites, and this tells you how to do it. And you can do some do-it-yourself keyboard shortcuts. So you can create your own shortcuts. When you do the properties, there is a blank box that says shortcut key. You can create one yourself and then use that shortcut key to open up certain programs or certain files. And then you can browse all of the web or all of your PC from your taskbar by adding that to the properties of your taskbar. And there's the old school task switcher using the Alt-Tab key. And then you've got more powerful secrets, and so there's some other another link to more of these types of suggestions and hints and tips. Okay, how to add any website to the Windows 10 Start menu. Those of you who are using Windows 10. How are we doing in time? I got about 10 minutes. I'm going to kind of brush through these last ones, and I do want to bring up the last one as well. So we've got about 10 minutes, so about a minute apiece here, and we're going to be pretty much covered. 15 simple Windows tips. Again, this is another slideshow from PC World. Hidden powers and time savers in Windows 10. Launch the taskbar programs with your keyboard. We just did that. Quickly launch a new instance of a program. Is this the same one that I already did? I guess I copied it instead of clicking it, so we can go back. It's similar to one we already had. How to add any website to the Start menu. And this tells you how to do that. There's one way in Edge to do it, but also in Internet Explorer and others.
I know, backing up your files is a total pain.
This is one of those
but
websites.
Windows 10 has this feature called File History
videos
that
that
makes
start, which I can't stand, especially if I'm opening up several links and tabs. I'll get 2 or 3 of those things running, and I got to go figure out how to shut them off, or which ones. But you can add a website to your Start button. I haven't done it, but you could have a Start button for a particular website, and then just click on a button here, which will automatically open up your browser and take you to that website. Another thing to make it very quick on things that you do on a regular basis, but you may not want to open up every time you start your browser to have it open up to that website. 10 reasons you should be using Microsoft Edge now, and I probably could come up with 10 reasons why you shouldn't. So go ahead and read that if you're interested. How to block with a Windows upgrade. I know several of you have talked about this in the TechSig, that you don't want the Windows upgrade. Here's an article, a link to the article that tells you how to block it. Let's take just a quick look at the page. I'm not going to go in on how to do it because that's not what I recommend, but if you want to do it, you can. But it tells you what to do and how to do it, how to undo a Windows 10 upgrade if it did it automatically, and so on. So it's a nice article to take a look at. 12 obscure 10 news window features that eliminate everyday hassles. Again, another slideshow from PC World. You can do some background scrolling. A lot of these have to do with additional apps that you can download or just some other things you can do. Natural language search, how you can do some searching, some ways to search that you might not think of. Per monitor display scaling. This again was something I talked about earlier, that in Windows 10 you could do a lot of individualized monitor, so you can scale one monitor to be different than another if you have multiple monitors. Wi-Fi Sense. It's a carryover from a Windows Phone 8.1. It takes the hassle out of using Wi-Fi on the run. It can automatically connect you to open hotspots as well as Wi-Fi networks your Facebook and so on have accessed. You never need to touch a password. However, you might want to be careful. There are some security implications and some ways to disable it if you're worried about it. So again, these are 12 obscure Windows 10 features that you might want to take a look at. And then finally, before we finish, 30 insanely useful websites that you probably don't know about. And it's just a long list. Music and audio, hype machines, film and cinema, movie phone, a good way to watch, productivity, my fonts, some things on fonts and color, word frequency counter, the rasterbator. If you ever wanted to blow up one of your pictures to a massive size, perhaps you wanted to create some really cool wall art, the rasterbator can help. You upload your image and it'll provide you with a multi-page PDF document that you can download and print. Print friendly, simple saver, throwaway mail, which is if you want to get a perk or a promotion but don't want to receive a lifetime of spam emails, you should use a throwaway email. When used in conjunction with a password generator, they're also useful for burying accounts which have no delete function. This site gives you an address and an inbox, both of which will remain active for as long as you keep the tab open. So as you close the tab, they go away. Then with the OneLook reverse dictionary we covered is the first item today, and some do-it-yourself and home improvement, manuals library, instruction books get lost. There's almost 2 million manuals for 40,000 brands, free, all free to access and available for download. My iPad, I use iBooks quite a bit, and I download manuals for different pieces of equipment that I have in the house, including a watch, my toaster oven, and other items, and I can put the manual in as a PDF file in my iBook, and I always have it available, so I don't have to go searching somewhere to find manuals where they get lost and they get in the back of a drawer, or what drawer did I put them in, and so on. And so there's several others on here. So when you've got some extra time, this is a good website to take a look at, or a good web page that has 30 websites that you probably didn't know about that'll be fun taking a look at. And with that, Jack, go ahead and open up the mic, and if there are any questions before we say goodbye for the afternoon.
You're back on, Yui. The mic's on.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions on what you saw, what he presented? I've got a question, Yui.
Sure.
On my Windows 10, you can't see it now because your screen is up. Down on the bottom where, you know, what's that voice, Cortina?
Uh-huh.
When I click on Cortina, or I try to turn Cortina on in my system, it says your company has blocked Cortina. I can't use Cortina. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Yeah, in fact, I had one of my neighbors, we couldn't even get it to come up as a choice. And when he went to try to turn it on, it wouldn't turn on, and we had to end up reinstalling Windows 10 to make it work. But there are some things that you may have to check. I would do some searching on Cortana. It's actually Cortana.
Cortana.
But I would do some searching, and if all else fails, I would give the Windows store a call. And,
yeah, see what they say.
Yeah, and they should help you as well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't use Cortana. I've got an Amazon Echo, and that's what I use mostly for that sort. And then on my iPad and iPhone, I use Siri. So on my desktop, I use it for searching by typing. I don't use it for it at all.
Yeah. I was just wondering because it had worked fine, and then all of a sudden this thing came up and said your corporation will not let Cortana operate or something like that. And I go,
I know you do some business things on your computer, Jack. Do you sign into one of your? Do you sign into somebody else's server?
No, not usually.
Okay.
Not usually.
That may have shut it off.
Yeah.
But you might want somewhere you've got it shut off, and it might be if you had gone on using somebody's computer, they may have changed your. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
The file that can limit what you can do and not do. Are you? I take it you're using the Pro version of.
I guess it's Windows 10. It's whatever I had, and we converted it over. I think it's Pro.
Okay, you may have Pro, but if you got Home, it doesn't sound like that would be a statement that the Home version would say.
No, it shouldn't.
Something in the Pro version and something that's turned off in the security. You've got some security it's turned on not to allow you to do that.
Well, I'll have to try and I'll have to do some more research. I don't use it that much, but it annoyed me when I found out I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, well,
you may not ever use it, but at least it would be fixed, right?
Well, if I wanted to use it for something, I could use it for that, you know. So, any other questions? Anybody have any questions at all? Okay, Yui, you have a good rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I can't see what you're going to be doing. It should be a good session. Everybody be safe, be careful, and I'll see you next month.
Hey, Yui, take it easy, buddy.